What's going on, everybody? I am Winston A. Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blerd, and welcome to this season 4, episode 8 review of Atlanta. Holy shit. That's really all I can say to start this off. This is going to be a full spoiler review as we have done in the past. So if you have not seen the episode, I cannot recommend more for a single episode. We've done this more. Go watch this first and come back. Seriously, we will be here. Go watch the episode first and come back because, again, holy shit. But I'm joined, same as last week, with my first ride or die for this entire season, Matt Thomas from Who Are They Real Entertainment Media.
I'm a fly to LA just to whoop your ass.
The co-creator and one of the lead hosts for that entertainment group. And then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the king of them bite-sized reviews, and one gotta stay, Mr. Amaru Moses is back with us as well. Gentlemen, how are you doing this fine, what is it, Saturday morning, technically?
For us, didn't this been released? Yes.
Yes.
Rue, who ended up being the one that got to stay? From Hermione and Batman and Spider-Man and
so it was
where does Cameron go?
Lost you.
No. Why? Well, you see my face.
I don't
know what happened to the camera. It's still here, but my face is still here.
Here we go.
There we go. You
got solo dolo, bro.
I don't know what happened. Batman ended up winning.
Okay.
Points wise, but Spider-Man and Batman are going on to the final against
that's James.
Obi-Wan Kenobi and Indiana Jones. The panel I got for the final episode, it's beautiful. Anybody who is a Schmodown fan, I would suggest watching that episode if you miss the people you love. The panel.
I wasn't called, but that's okay.
I wasn't called either.
I promise you, Winston. You were, because you've been on like 3. You were like, if like you are number 6 if I need you, because I know you there. But I hit some people up that I've never hit up before, and it was like kind of, I would assume people would think are hard to get, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to flex these Schmodown muscles, see if like I can call some favors, and it was actually way easier than I expected. So I'm very happy with the panel, but I promise you, is like Winston is like right here if anybody says no, because I know he's in, because that's my boy and he's there. So look out for that. It's gonna be a fun time.
Hey, I appreciate it, man, and we can't wait to see it. Is it coming out tomorrow or in a couple weeks?
No, it'll be a couple weeks. So November 7th, back to Mondays. So November 7th at 6 EST. And while you were definitely sorry, you were definitely number 6 to call. Matt was probably like 20.
Damn.
That makes sense. I get it. That's look, like you put a light on this dude and it just blinds everybody. So that makes sense. You want to be able to see who's on the panel.
Probably been on that show second most.
That's also
he's been on the limit.
He's
been on it a lot. So
all right, y'all. So let's get into it because we have a lot to cover. And my God, I'm not kidding when I say this is maybe one of the funniest episodes of television ever. And you knew that it was gonna be something with this particular episode. This episode is called The Goof Who Sat by the Door. As soon as it starts up, you see the Black American Network. So for those that don't remember, in season 1 was the other time we were introduced to Ban. And Ban got us that talk show, that kind of debate, like kind of talking head talk show, where Paperboy was on, and they were discussing essentially like Black folk in the media and all this kind of stuff, and transracialism and all sorts of stuff like that, right? But we also got some of the realest commercials you have ever seen.
The Dodge Charger commercial.
The Dodge. For me, it was the Arizona Ice.
Yeah, I was about to say the Arizona Ice Tea tops it all. Bro.
It was nigga walking in, rings it up. They both go, "What the?
Yo,
price is on the can though. It is on the can though."
Real quick, inflation's real when Arizona prices have started going up. That's all I gotta say.
They held out for a while, but
that's when you gotta worry.
Yeah. $150 now. plus tax.
Yeah, they held out for a while, and then they eventually they couldn't anymore. So it is what it is. But we get a title card of it being on ban, and then we get this note that says, at the request of band's lawyers, we acknowledge that that though the story you're about to see has been fact checked to the best of our ability, certain details presented may not be endorsed by the Walt Disney Company.
Yep.
With that being the opening, like anything, you know this shit about to be fucking wild.
And I was like, wait a second. Who's on Disney, right? Are they allowed
FX is owned by Disney.
FX is owned by
They're allowed
Disney.
him to do this?
So
they
I
really
was,
shouldn't even-
bro,
Okay.
bro, I was like, where are we about to go? I don't know where we're going with this. And so you get the scene set by the narrator, who the narrator for this is this journalist. Her name, I wrote it down, is Jenna Waltham. And she starts off by being like, you know, Disney was at the precipice of bankruptcy, but then The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King all saved it. But around that time, you had the 92 Rodney King riots. And that led Disney to one of the most pivotal moments in their entire life when they ended up hiring a black movie and TV head by the name of Thomas Washington. And that's when we get the introduction of the actual documentary, The Goof Who Sat by the Door. So just out the gate, what y'all think about that title before you even know what's going on?
I was like, are they really calling this motherfucker a goof? Are we really gonna did he somehow goof all of Disney up? Like, what? I'm like, what is this about to be about? Is this about to be some really racist shit?
I mean,
for me, it immediately took me back to Chicago and everybody saying, you goof ass. And I was like, wait a second, okay. But also, they did so well with that opening and that picture and everything they did. I was like, hold on, I need to look this shit up. Is this shit real? Is this real?
That's exactly what I did.
I was like, Thomas Washington, CEO, and I saw a full documentary. I was like, damn, y'all, even in the first 5 minutes, y'all put this off because it made me immediately be like, wait a second.
No. I had to believe that this was fake. As much as I thought it would be hilarious, I was like, there's no way that this is true because I feel like it's something that we would have known. But like, that's the thing. I got confused when we watched the first band episode with Paperboy on the show because I thought that was an actual commercial break. The only reason, because I don't know if y'all noticed this, the first airing of the show, they got FX to pull the little FX title card at the bottom, so you thought it was a real commercial. So like then after that, subsequently they put their little whatever the little logo is at the bottom. But the very first airing, so I got confused. I genuinely thought they were real commercials. So same thing. I was like, oh my god, did I accidentally not click on Atlanta? Did I click on something else?
Yeah.
I was like, nope, this is definitely Atlanta. So we first hear from his mother, Evelyn Washington, and we're like, we named Thomas after Tom Jones. And I was like, Tom Jones? The white ass nigga Tom Jones?
Right.
However, again, white ass nigga, because you know how many people actually believe Tom Jones is black.
Yeah, I know people who are like, he's got an honorary nigga card. So like,
yeah. No, well, that was
like, no, it's not honorary. We think he's black. He's got something somewhere down the line.
But what kills me about it is he was like, yeah, that's how his daddy got me. He was just singing to Tom Jones, and that did it. And then you hear from his cousin, Philip Washington, and we hear from this nigga a lot throughout the documentary. And he was like, yeah, man, you know, Thomas was always special. You know, he was drawing all the time. Yeah, he's drawing on his books in the margins. He was obsessed with this one character, Mastro Boy. Is that his name? No, Astro Boy. Astro Boy. I watched it with him one time. Shit was kind of boring. Like, just straight up, just was like, yeah, Astro Boy kind of boring. And he goes, at one point, you know, Thomas said to me, what if Astro Boy came here and saved us? And I was like, from what? And he said, everything. And I was like, huh? And I was like, you know, but maybe he was 8. Like, you know, he wasn't no punk. But like, you know, the world we lived in was unfair, you know? You can't ride your bike outside. Niggas would just come and steal your bike. Then they ride your bike in front of your own house the very next day. They didn't give a fuck. I was like, yo, so you're straight up quoting Friday at this point. With
yes, Demo just right there, right in front of your face. And the bad part and hilarious part is it's true.
It's
Right in front of your
really
face.
good, bro. It just don't give a fuck at all. So okay, so what? Just hearing that to begin with, what are y'all thinking about Thomas and the picture they're painting?
I was like, where are we going with this? Just like like the first 5 minutes, I was like, I don't know how I feel. And then when we get to the thing, I'm like, oh nope.
Yep.
Yep.
So then we hear from his mom again, Evelyn. She's like, he used to get picked on, and Philip follows it up. It's like, man, we used to call him white just to mess with him all the time. Niggas will make fun of you for anything. And I feel bad because that's the truth. That's the truth. Niggas will make fun of you for anything.
That line was so small, but I don't know why. That was the funniest line of the entire thing for me. The way he delivered it, niggas just make fun of you for everything, and I died. I died because it's so true. With the way he delivered it, it's like that's life. It really is.
Bro, that is one of my favorite moments on Twitter this year from Black Twitter was you had one person straight up go, I love my people in that you can compliment somebody just by what they're wearing. So you'd be like, okay, I see you over there, Mr. Hoodie. Okay. All right there, Mr. Beard. I see your ass. Come on now. But then someone tweeted a day later, I hate how niggas will make fun of you just by something that you're doing or wearing. And be like, all right, over there, earphones, goofy ass nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? All right, bullheaded ass boy. Like, just the fact that that's how people will just talk to each other.
It's wild. It's effing hilarious, man.
Oh my God. So he's talking about that, and then we find out that Tom got into SCAD, which I thought was also fake. I was like, is this supposed to be like some sort of, but it's a real place, the Savannah College of Art and Design. So then we hear from the whitest professor. His name is Mark Dillard. That is a SCAD professor. And he's like, we didn't have a lot of black students. We really didn't. We kind of opened up a diversity program, and Thomas was one of the first one in. And he actually sent in with his application this flip book. And this was the flip book.
I mean, he had the sensibility.
So he drew a flip book of him going to SCAD, getting his degree, and then running straight into Disney. Like, this dude really wanted to work for Disney badly. But his professor starts talking about how Tom was obsessed with Art Babbitt, who was the creator of Goofy. And so this is what Art Babbitt originally said about Goofy. He said Goofy, was adult. He was someone who wasn't aware of how slow-witted he really was, and he thought long and hard before he did anything, and then he did it wrong. And it went further in the quote from his book about his own character, The Analysis of Goof. Think of Goof as a composite of an everlasting optimist, a gullible good Samaritan, a half-wit, a shiftless, good-natured colored boy, and a hick. He is loosely jointed and gangly, but not rubbery. He can move fast if he has to, but he would rather avoid overexertion, so he takes what seems the easiest way. He's a philosopher of the barbershop variety. No matter what happens, he accepts it finally as being the best or at least amusing. So, hearing that, how do y'all feel? Because I heard that, I was like, this is the most racist shit. Like, it's all something I think we knew, but to like hear this shit,
like
it made me throughout the whole thing with SCAD and the book. It was like, okay, how much of this is real and how much of this is not? Because they're doing this so well. So what really immediately got me was when the Santa Claus version of Lon Harris started showing the actual drawings that he had Thomas do.
Okay. So here's the next thing. So as you hear that, he goes, he was so obsessed, he made a piece. A piece called Goofy Please. So instead of nigga please, Goofy Please, and it's all goofy as niggas. So two goofs playing basketball, a goof at the barbershop getting the fade.
I saw these and I was like, oh, this Thomas dude, he about to go in on that shit. Because that was a Goofy, please. Like, Goofy, please. This ain't Goofy. This is Goofy. This is what we is right here. I'm going to take that whole quote and ruin this entire company's life based on that.
As soon as you see those pictures, you know exactly where this is going to.
And so what's funny about this, because then they go back to his cousin, and his cousin goes, yeah, you know, he said to me one day, he said, you know, Goofy a nigga, right? I just laughed at that, but I was like, shit, I don't know. So that's when his professor again comes back, and he's like, for his thesis, he made a short film called The Little Prince. It looked like Prince on the moon singing about going to Earth and all that kind of stuff. And he talked about how Thomas lost his dad end of freshman, beginning of sophomore year, and how his mind kind of broke from that point. He really just went forward from there. And the professor clearly not getting it, because this is clearly the difference between white people and black people. And I don't know if y'all picked up on this. He goes, depending on who you are and when you saw it, this was either the funniest thing or the saddest thing you have ever seen. And that short film is what got him into Disney. I guarantee you all the people that found it sad were white people, and all the people that found that shit funny were all niggas. They were just like, what the fuck is this nigga on?
Yes. Even with the tear and the dove just flying away off his shoulders, like,
And the
okay.
the prince, I was just like, yo.
So, oh Lord. All right. So he does The Little Prince. He gets into Disney, and then the journalist Jenna comes back, and she's like, he joined right after The Little Mermaid. And then you get Leonard Trussell talking. This is a former Disney exec, and he talks about how they'd started the diversity program, and Tom was one of the first people to get in on that. So that's twice now he's on a diversity program in these like all white institutions, which is why it's so interesting, the white people not getting it and all the black people being like, this nigga. So, which, to be honest with you, to stop for a second going through it, what I loved about this particularly, are y'all old school Gambino fans? So not like Awaken My Love and Camp, but I'm talking about like his old mixtape days and shit.
I didn't.
I'm young. I didn't discover him until
that much yet.
When 3005 came out is kind of where I got on.
So the reason why I ask, if you go listen to a lot of his old mixtape stuff, which is all phenomenal, Donald himself is, for a lack of a better term, is a Blerd as well. Was that like nerdy, like nigga shit where he was constantly getting bullied by black folk. He was talking about when he was in Stone Mountain.
You talking about Bonfire, kind of?
Even pre-Bonfire, but he talks about it in Bonfire too. So like that's what I'm saying. He would talk about how he was always that kid that was the creative, that was doing all that, and he would constantly get picked on and bullied and all that kind of stuff. So ironically, even though he's making a full story about the Goofy movie and like all that kind of stuff, there is clearly some of him talking about himself where like he's the one black face in these white ass spaces, and he'd be doing nigga shit and they don't know what's going on, but they're like, but it was good. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know what to do. So I caught on that pretty quickly, and I was like, okay, this is actually really funny and astute of him to pull this off. But he joins, Thomas joins. He's working on DuckTales, Treasure of the Lost Lamp, which is one of my favorite motherfucking movies, bro. I don't know if y'all ever saw that one as a kid. That one, it's on Disney+.
I've seen it. I think I've seen it once, but I never seen it again when I was a kid, or when I was younger.
Yeah, it's kind of like an Aladdin story, but with DuckTales. But they're talking about while he's on this, the Rodney King stuff happens. So at that point, you know, Tom is really shook, and his cousin is like, yeah, he said, if I ever get a chance to do a movie around here, I'm not holding back. And his cousin was like, that's how I knew this nigga was on to something. You know what I mean? That something was coming. So then we hear from a board member. And the board member says, after the success of Beauty and the Beast, Eisner put Dennis Stevenson in charge while he was on sabbatical. Dennis had a health emergency, and 2 weeks in, he died. So then we all decided we were going to vote for this guy, Tom Washington. But what we didn't realize is that Tom's first name is Thompson, not Thomas. So we ended up voting in this black guy named Thomas Washington, who was a low-level animator. And after Beauty and the Beast, you know, there was just too many eyes on us, especially with what was happening with Rodney King. So we couldn't vote in a black CEO and then immediately take him off. So we just kind of had to keep him.
Have y'all seen the movie Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy?
I have not.
Okay, for one, you immediately, after we are done with this, it is free on YouTube. You need to go see The Distinguished Gentleman, because the entire purpose is he's a con man, and his name is Thomas Jefferson Johnson. And the previous congressman's name was Jeff Johnson. So he's like, I'm just going to run as Jeff Johnson. And that is basically the premise of how he becomes a congressman in Washington. It is one of the most underrated, funniest Eddie Murphy movies I have ever seen. I absolutely love it. And this is immediately what I thought of when I saw it. So go see The Distinguished Gentleman. When you're done watching this video, it's on YouTube. Watch The Distinguished Gentleman. It is... Thank me later. It is hilarious.
I'm gonna watch it. So knowing this about the accidentally getting voted in comes one of my favorite lines ever, because once again it's niggas being niggas. I think Philip is my favorite person in this whole documentary because he's just being a nigga the whole time, and he goes, "Yeah, you know, this cat called me on the phone talking about he's the CEO of Disney," and I just laughed in his face. I was like, "Yeah, okay." And then he took me to his office. Everybody was greeting me and shit, greeting him and shit. I was like, "Yo, ain't that also about some stuff where nobody would believe you?"
I was like, that's the blackest thing I ever heard. Blackest.
Oh, really?
I don't believe you, man.
Shut your goofy ass up. You know you ain't no CEO or no goddamn Disney. Oh, nigga, what?
Yep,
You got a secretary, dog?
You got this big ass office?
But then this is where it starts to get funny, because now this is where we start to find out about a Goofy movie, man. So we get a former animator, Gary Welsh, and he's talking about the very first day. He pulls us into a back stock room. And we're watching an animation of Goofy in Mickey's trailer, and Pluto is on a leash. And Thomas asks us, why is Goofy letting Mickey do that? Goofy's a dog and Pluto's a dog. So why he letting Mickey do one of his own like that? And I was like, oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yep. I was like, oh yeah, here it comes. Because to be fair, a lot of black people are said about Goofy. A lot of black people are said that about Goofy.
No, I mean, when we just heard about how much of a coon he really is, like they intentionally made him very like soft shoe, like like, you know what I'm saying? So then we hear from this dude, Frank Rolls, who says, you know, I was an in-betweener, and that's the person that you don't get to do the fun animation. You have to do the tedious tasks from frame 1 to frame 6. You got to do all the in-betweens. But Thomas gets hired, and he immediately comes over to me and says, yo, I need you to be the lead director on this. And I said, on what? And then he goes, the blackest movie of all time. He wanted to make a movie about black fatherhood. He wanted to tackle everything in this movie, from segregation to single parenting to low-income career trajectory, the amount of cheese in African-American diets. And honestly,
that got me.
Yeah. I didn't catch it at first because I forgot in a Goofy movie you have the motherfucker with the cheese whiz.
Yes.
The whole time.
Yes, you do.
Oh my God. But he's like, he knew the perfect character to do it. He wanted to show the systemic issues that Goofy was dealing with. Oh my God. So then we go to a commercial again. And this is around where I stopped running out of notes, but obviously I remember the rest of the episode, so we'll go through it. Anna Spielman is his wife, and she talks about how they were married young. This nigga was looking like Goofy even while he was courting her, bro.
Fam, I'm trying to figure out the amount of work they did to get everybody to get those photos done, to get those videos done, to make it look like it was the 90s.
To be fair, like, nowadays people just use those cameras. People just go back and use those.
Not even the cameras, the cuts and the clothes and the makeup.
But that's you got to remember, it's a full season of television, and it's probably I would argue it's the same amount of work to make this episode, maybe a little more because it's super stylized, but it's the same amount of work as you were doing the episode of the snipe hunt. It doesn't seem like it, you know, but like every individual shot, you got to get the wide, the double close up, the back and forth. Like, you'd be surprised. But you know, Anna talks about how, you know, we didn't have a lot, but if we didn't have it, he would just draw it. And a coffee pot or gold jet, I'd wake up and it'd be on the refrigerator the next morning. And then we had our son Maxwell. Why is this nigga still Goofy with the cross-eyed, bro?
She's got so many closed-eye photos too. Like, I'm just like, can they not take a good picture, like, at all?
Oh my God! And so, you know, that's what he said. He said that this movie was for our son Maxwell. A Goofy movie was for him. And then we hear from the reporter again, and they go, you know, black masculinity was in a weird place. You either had this faux queerness, so men on films like from In Living Color, or you have this hyper masculine portrayals. So then what I'm trying to remember what black ass movie they showed. Was that I
It
can't
was
remember.
New Jack City.
New Jack City.
It was New Jack City.
It was New Jack. And so seeing those polar opposites, and they Maxwell says, Dad wanted it to be in between to like show that you just need to love your family and whatnot, and he's like, I remember the thing he had at one point, Max, sing a song, dunk a basketball, and then he got cheered on by his peers, and it was a commentary on black excellence, that the outsider's going to put these pressures on you, that you have to be some sort of entertainer, and you got to do all that kind of shit, but Dad was just like, nah, black exceptionalism is just, about being yourself, and that's why it was set to the fishing trip that we used to take, and that's when you had the director be like, yeah, the fishing trip was meant to be a freedom ride.
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He was again. We knew when we saw them pictures. Where he was taking it.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit, bro. Okay. Okay, so that is around where I ran out of my notes. So we're just gonna kind of keep going through it as y'all remember. So then we start getting more and more into essentially what some of the things he would add into the movie. So like for example, you had the idea of them on the river and how him and his son, but he got really obsessive with it that he wanted to spend time with his son. So there was a point where he yelled at his own son Max, and his wife was like, nah, I'm out. You've gone too far. And she ended up divorcing him. And that is further making him crazy as he's trying to make this movie. And as that's going, you're having the animators talk about it. He's like, nah, I drew like 5,000 dabs a day. And like my fingers would bleed.
That's not a dab.
Which still wasn't right.
He'd have kids come in and show him how to dance.
He would dance himself. This is how you do this. This is how you
look at the knees. Draw the knees. Look at these knees. Draw them like this.
No, and we missed it, but when the white dude came in with the crutches, and he's like, this is what I'm talking about. You go in. Yeah, and I was like, wait, what is happening? Did he interrupt him? And then I realized he's talking about, no. He went in, he went to the black community, he ended up getting his ass whooped, but now he knows.
he went to the cookout, said something out of pocket, and got his ass beat up to come back. Oh, god damn it.
Just things like that. That got me, and then we got the cameos that started coming in. Freaking Brian McKnight. It made me sad, but it made me happy to see Sinbad because I know he had the stroke. And I was like, damn. But it was still, you was like, you still see Sinbad in there. So I was like, all right, it's good to know he's good.
He did look healthier than you'd expect. Like it wasn't total sag, which is nice.
Yeah. So that was nice. Yeah.
But then
going into
this is when they started talking about. No, exactly. Yeah. So they start talking about like they were going to put their standard kind of Disney whatever stuff, and they're like, nah,
a deal with Bryan Adams in place,
right? And they're like, no, we're not doing no Bryan Adams shit. Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Instead, Tevin Campbell was on, right? And so they were like, yeah, we got to put Tevin Campbell
because they were like the one which I don't remember which black person was like. He asked me, he was like, who are you listening to? And I told him Tevin Campbell.
He was talking to Brian McKnight.
Yeah,
Real quick.
Talking to Brian McKnight. That's what Brian. Yeah.
Matt, are you too young to know who Brian McKnight is?
Oh.
It's all good. It's all good. Your age, I can get it.
To be fair, I even told Winston, I'm like, only reason I know who Tevin Campbell is because he is on Fresh Prince singing "Happy Birthday" to Ashley.
Look, you tried to slip in that what black dude who said it. What black dude? I was like, no. We're not gonna just skip past Brian.
But they didn't know. I hope niggas come and roast you for that shit, bro. Yo, if you watching this, go tweet at Matt Thomas. Hey, how you not know who Brian McKnight
I'm a baby compared to these two. I am a child compared to these two.
It doesn't matter. That's our history, boy. How the fuck you not know who Brian McKnight is? It's all right. It's all right. So they start talking about all sorts of stuff, including the fact that while this is all happening, Thomas is having to fight all the white people that are still trying to put that white boy Mickey in the film. He's like, he ain't gonna be in this film. But what's so funny is that, again, we all know how black a Goofy movie is, bro. Mm-hmm. The fact that the one thing I would remember, I was like, Pete is the Goofy and Pete are definitely those two different types of black dads. First of all, they both work at JCPenney at the photo shoot at the mall. And the fact that Pete was like, they need discipline, so you got to beat their ass sometimes, and then they come through, and then. But Goofy was like, no, I can't do that, Pete. I can't do that to Maxie. Like that whole shit, bro, fucking killed me. So we continue to go along with the movie, and as it with the documentary, and as it goes along, it mirrors closer and closer to his relationship with Max of trying to relate to his son. And again, you just kind of see that there's really a love letter from Thomas to Max. And whatnot. But then we start getting random shit that happens that once he is pushed out of the role. So, like, for example, they just threw a Bigfoot scene in there, and he never wanted that at all because it was supposed to be a serious black ass movie. But that, like, why the Bigfoot just randomly shows up, that was all the white people afterwards. But what killed me, his initial ending for the movie was supposed to be like the Get Out alternate ending, if you remember, where he gets pulled over by the cops, and it's not Lil Rel, TS motherfucking A. It's the real cops. They see him having killed all the white people, and they shoot his ass. So it's supposed to be the Goofy back get pulled over by the cops and get shot up. Was supposed to be the ending of the Goofy movie.
And then also they were supposed to go into a thrift store and find the seat that what is the name of the leader of the Black Panthers? His seat and shit.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They found the seat, but they got that too. Oh shit. Oh my god. Whew. So you hear all of that, man. And then they get to the point where, like, they were saying that, you know, the only way they felt they could get him out is if maybe, like, they killed him. And they were like, you know, they get to it and they go, you know, he didn't die as, like, an accident. They kind of showed what it was. And it was him drunk as shit on the phone talking about, they fucked my shit up, all this stuff. And eventually his car careened off of a fucking bridge. And then they show the crime scene photos, and they never found his body. But they found the big ass Goof gloves and the big ass Goof.
You're forgetting the key part. It careened into the lake that he and his son would go fishing at.
All the fishing trips at. So it was really all just one poetic fucking story.
Bruh,
oh
that's
wild.
One of my favorite
Absolutely
things.
Wild.
Is when they're mentioning, like, he's laughing like Goofy, but it sounds like a broken Goofy laugh. It's like he's broken. He's lost it.
Oh my god, man. So all of that being said, man, you see how the Goofy movie became about, and as we all know, and it ends with clips and eye to eye playing, but clips of the movie as the credits are rolling.
The fact that they put up the in memory of Thomas Ronald Washington, really.
All I gotta say is, y'all, just seeing all of this, for them to continue every episode to outdo themselves, for the main cast to not even be directly involved in this episode, and for it to honestly maybe be my favorite episode of the series.
Yeah.
Like, I laughed the entire time, and it's because I think it's not only the relatability of every black person knowing, and we've said it, the first black Disney movie was a Goofy movie. We have said that shit for years, and white people look at us like, the fuck is your ass on, boy? And we're like, nah, this a black ass movie, bruh. Like, to the point where, like, I would always say Roxanne. I like, there's the debate: was Roxanne white or was she light skinned?
She was mixed.
She was. I think what she was, if I'm being honest, with the name like Roxanne, I think she was like half black, half Latina, because
Puerto
like,
Rican. Puerto Rican, easy.
Probably Puerto Rican, because you remember her dad, right? Her dad just, I don't like your ass, bro. Like, her dad would like come to the door every single time, and she was like, Daddy, he's fine. Like, don't worry about it, bruh. But to have the relatability of how black a Goofy movie is, but then also to have such scathing commentary about the time, for this to feel so fucking real, for the band element to feel like a BET documentary yet again, I was blown away. This is, if I could go higher than 5, I would. But this is up there for me with the first band episode. This is up there with the Baby episode, bruh. This was perfect. How do you feel, Matt? What were you thinking, man?
I'm actually right there with you. I thought the petty episode to begin this season couldn't be topped. I was wrong. I was dead wrong, and it's just so weird that to think that an episode with none of the cast whatsoever, turns out being the best. Like,
But
that's just how good this show is.
dude, it's so spot on. I don't know if y'all caught even the title, "The Goof That Stood by the Door," and I didn't even who sat by the door, and I didn't say this before. You know, it's an allusion to the spook who sat by the door, right?
I did not.
I don't know what that is.
Neither do
Okay,
I.
so it was both a like text, but also like a film in the blaxploitation era, and the novel itself is about a black man who uses his skills that he learns from to become one of the first token CIA agents, but starts to secretly build a revolutionary movement against the government. So it's like this idea as the same thing of Thomas sneaking into the white people and then trying to overturn all this shit before it all just comes crashing down, obviously. So it's the same thing. This shit was so deep on so many fucking levels, man. It was absolutely insane.
What I really, really enjoyed about it, on top of all that, is I find it so relatable because for the documentary itself, but also for a Goofy movie, it continues to not only shine a light on that, but shine a light on us, on the different types of masculinity, on what we thought it meant to be black, on like Blerd's place in the black community. Like they ended on or close to ended on Thomas just wanted to be a part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to not be just this, or he wanted to have drawing be cool and just be a part of the family and like what we've all been through growing up, being the smart black dude you hang around with, the nerd, the cool one. Are you a part of the black community? Are you black enough? But then when you go in the white spaces, are you too black? And then Goofy movie being that masculinity right in the middle. All of that at the same time is, while it's all hilarious, that's the stuff that that's why it's so relatable.
Absolutely,
because that's the type of stuff that resonates with me.
And that's what I'm saying. Why I can't think of anybody who would have tackled this better, because that is what Donald. If you go and look at a lot of his old raps, he was talking about that, about how he just wanted to fit in and he just like nerdy shit and Super Saiyans and all that kind of stuff, and he got roasted endlessly by black folk. And what's funny is, again, just wanted to be a part of the culture, how accepted and how loved he is now, but how he still has people being like, that corny ass nigga, good the fucking Donald Glover ass motherfucker, like white women and all the stupid shit in his goof. But it is one of those things that is so interesting, is that we can so love and yet still be so fucking awful to our greatest, bro. Like, and again, I think that's why this episode is just so spot on, because he is alluding to one of the biggest things to come again with the spook who sat by the door. Like, it's a great film. Y'all should definitely check it out, man. It's kind of wild. It's hard hitting as fuck, man. But you have that. You have the ability to tap into something, like essentially to imprint with the Goofy movie onto all of this at the same time and answer questions we've all had this entire time as to how this happened, and to just bring it all together into one think piece and still have your nigga jokes like from the cousin and all that kind of stuff. Like, bro.
Also,
Rue,
real
what
quick,
would you rate it? Yeah.
Well, real quick before I do that question, did any of y'all notice that Max, that Thomas's son, dead ass looked like LeVar Burton?
Yes,
he did. Yes,
dead
he
ass.
did.
I had to look it up. It is not LeVar Burton. He's not related to him in any way. But my wife was like, "Is that LeVar Burton? Is that the dude from Reading Rainbow?" I was like, "No, he's too young to be him, but he looks dead ass like 100%."
Community
I
reference.
start to wonder now. So that is a community reference. So I wonder, knowing that now, if that's either a callback to that and I would not be surprised here, because Dan Harmon has been known to work with his actors in his shows to get more ideas and shit. I wonder if when they did that whole Community episode of Donald Glover with Troy being obsessed with LeVar Burton, if Donald is actually obsessed with LeVar
Right.
Burton, and so
And
this is
picked an
just
actor who
him
looked
once
like him.
again picked somebody that looked like him to put in the documentary. But but what would you rate it, Rue?
For me, I'm not up there with y'all where it's like what my favorite episode and it's over there. But the thing is about Atlanta, it is consistent excellence. So for me, this is probably around like a 4.3 if you go in the middle of it. But it just sticks consistent with everything that this season has been, everything that last season has been. And I loved it. It's so damn well done, so funny. If I had to stick with one, I actually probably stick with about 4.3 for me.
Okay. All right. 4.3.
This is the second 5 of the season.
Oh God, I'm tired from all the laughing I did today. But we want to know what y'all think, man. Like, real talk. Did you pick up on all the references? Like, do you agree with how black this movie is? Did you get confused and think this is a real ass documentary like Rue? And like, we all did at some point or another, bro.
I did too.
At some point or another, we all were like,
Let me just look this up right now, real quick.
I know, but honestly, we want to know what you think, man. So please let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribed to the channel. As you can see, I got a lot of different stuff going on here. We got the reviews going on. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is coming out soon. The embargo is up, so I can't drop the review yet, but my review on the movie will be coming out
November 8th.
So much to say. It's November 8th is the end of the embargo, so much to say about it. So you definitely want to come back and check that out. But Matt, tell them what you got going on, man.
Well, I will have seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever by November 8th. So my review will also be dropping over on Watt Real Entertainment. But just catch me on socials, on Twitter, Watt Movies Matt _Matt. Got a couple reviews coming up. I got a show I can't talk about. I know Winston has gotten access to that show. I already watched it. I don't know if he has.
Not yet.
But I'm excited. I'll say this: I'm excited to be able to talk about that show. I just hate that we got that show so early, because I feel like I gotta record my review for that ASAP and just keep it in the can.
Just record them and just put them to schedule, bro.
Yeah.
What, I don't understand what the problem is. That seems like a happy problem, bro.
But like, I'm not kind of person who, when I see something that far out, I like to review it closer to it. I like to watch it closer to it again. So, like, in the past, we've had long windows in cases like this. We got a short window this time. So that's all. Right. But catch me rooting on my Cleveland Cavaliers. Back in Gold podcast is coming back. I think Connor said next.
Huh? What happened? I'm so sorry. I definitely had to mute you when you said root for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That seems like a really stupid thing to do, but I'll let you finish, I guess.
It's plugging a Cavaliers show on my channel, Back in
Gold.
Oh,
all right. You can do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
You sure you can do that? You can mute him again. That's fine.
A Cleveland Cavaliers podcast. Catch my 4-1 Cleveland Cavaliers beating down Rue's Knicks this Sunday. So yeah,
that's
it's a possibility. It's possible. Knicks just lost to the Bucks, but they made it
we just
close-ish.
Beat the Celtics. We just beat the Celtics in overtime, bro.
Sure,
right.
sure.
Well, it could be worse. You could be the Lakers. Go ahead. What's going on with you?
You could. You see my handle. That's why I'm always talking about the Knicks. You can find me there. You can find me on Facebook and on Instagram by my name. But Bite Size Breakdown on the Bite Size Breakdown YouTube channel. The last semifinal just is up. The final is coming. As I mentioned, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Indiana Jones, Batman, or Superman. Who is the one geek character that stays, that beats them all? Again, look out for the panel. It's going to be a pretty nice one. And then also Paige for Betty on the channel. She does a conversation show called Small Talk. She will be having the next Small Talk episode with one Video Drew for our October episode, our spooky season episode. Because Video Drew is kind of spooky, but we all love her. So check those out and keep looking at the reviews on bitesizebreakdown.com. Yeah, as always. And again, appreciate y'all, gentlemen, for having me on.
Absolutely. Rue, definitely come back if you can. I know you said you're a little busy the next couple of weeks, so it might just be me and Matt rolling out for the rest of this. But once again, I want to thank.
2 weeks out. We already agreed that episode's coming out late. We already agreed to that.
That's fair. But either way, like we said, y'all, we want to know what you think. Please Go down in the comments, drop that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to come back for everything else that's on here. The Law and Order Sports Victim Units. I didn't mention that before over on TikTok. Definitely check that out. And Capes and Cows on the Christian Harloff channel and Game Time over on the Outlaw Nation. I'm all over the place, man. So much love to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.